Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is a little after 2 o'clock. Looks like we have quorum, so we'll call the meeting of the TIRZ Board to order on February 25th, 2025. And I will say this is my first time to run this meeting and chair this board, so I'd appreciate it if y'all play nice and we'll get through it together. But first thing we want to do is we've got some new faces around here, so if we'd like to go around and let's introduce ourselves. And Steve, you really need no introduction, but we'll start with you if you don't mind.
Thank you. I'm Steve Floyd. I was trying to become their relevant the last 2 years, but I did to kind of come back on this board once we get off the paper stuff and all of that. So look forward to serving on it when we get it.
Yeah. We appreciate you being here.
Carlos Rodriguez, I have 1 year on the board.
Stephen Brown.
Shirley Spears, this is my second term.
And then I'm Trey Holmes, and this is my third year, somewhere in there. So thank you all for that. So moving forward on the agenda, one of the things that we need to do is nominate and vote for our 2025 vice chairperson. So do we have anybody that either wants to volunteer for the role or nominate?
I'll nominate Shirley Spears.
I'll accept the nomination.
Okay, you'll accept the nomination, that's good. Any others? Anybody?
No.
Carlos, you don't want it?
No.
Okay, so I guess we need a motion and a second for that, so anybody want to provide a motion?
Move approval.
Okay, all right, so let's have a vote. Everybody who approves Shirley being the vice chairman, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and if you're opposed, say nay. All right, well, Shirley, congratulations with that. And now we'll keep moving on to point number 4, the consent agenda. Hopefully everybody got a copy of the minutes and has had a moment to look over them. Did y'all see any changes or modifications that need to be made from our December meeting? All right. Do we have a second? Second. Okay. So everybody approve the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. As I said, y'all bear with me. This is my first shot with it. So, now that we have the consent agenda approved, we will move into the public comment portion of this meeting. And so that's where issues or concerns that are not on the regular agenda will be raised by our guests from the public this time. We'll ask that you would please come to the podium, address all comments to this direction to the dais. And if you would begin by stating your name and address or your single member district number. And we ask that you limit all remarks to 3 minutes. So do we have anybody for public comment?
Yeah, the first one is going to be Lee Pfluger.
All right. Mr. Pfluger?
Okay, the second one. Okay, Evelyn Smith.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm from SMD5. And I came to ask if anybody has any update or knowing what's going on with the nonprofit organization TIRZ.
Well, Evelyn, I appreciate what you're saying, but from my understanding, we're not allowed to really make comments back. It is, thank you for your questions. But hopefully you'll see that unfold over the course of the meeting.
Okay, then I'm going to use my 3 minutes.
Okay.
I did go to, and I want to kind of address this to Mr. Van Noy, that I did go to the city attorney and talk to him in regards to what he was doing, because the city council asked him to look over the state of Texas regulations and see what he found in there, why nonprofit or if nonprofit organization are eligible for TIRZ funds or not. So I called him and I said, could he look and find out some other information other than we're not eligible because we don't pay taxes? Because we knew that in the first place. So that's one thing you didn't have to look over. So I asked him, would he find something else that keeps us from applying? I said, once we already applied, because they put the application out there for us to apply, so it didn't have anything to do with, they knew that we weren't paying taxes in the first place. So he needed to find something else in regards to that. And I told him, I've been doing this for 18 months now. So if they want to just shut it down, which they did at the last city council meeting, they want to just shut down nonprofit organizations from not even being eligible to do that, then I suggested that they would approve Gethsemane Church first and then shut it down if they want to, or if they just want to just shut it down without approving Gethsemane for whatever reason that they try to give, is that they owe me an apology. Because I've been doing this for 18 months now, and every time they did encourage me to come back with something else. I mean, how come you didn't tell me in the first place, okay, we made a mistake, you're not eligible, and we're gonna shut it down, instead of 18 months later. So that's where I am with the city manager, and if he tried to say, and I asked him, if you try to say anything about, it said we could be eligible, nonprofit eligible, if you make a significant impact, but that's kind of, after the fact too, or before the fact, because you don't know if we're going to make an impact or not until we actually do that. And so, and I do know that beautifying that area will make an impact, because we just put a mural on that side of town called the Men of Honor, which is already attracting people over there. And that's the whole purpose, to attract people and to bring more public people in the area and to utilize the businesses over there. So if you had a chance to talk to the city council again, I'm just telling you what I mentioned to him and what I'd like to see, because that's not acceptable. We're just saying we don't pay taxes and we don't make a significant impact. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Evelyn. Do we have any other public comments?
Yeah, I think that the last two people that signed up for public comment not on the agenda did not mean to do that. You did, okay.
Okay.
Then Chris Matlock.
So my name is Chris Matlock. I live at 1413 Doral Road. And my comment relates to moving funds from the north to the south. I would not like to see that done without some kind of tie to investment in the north. I think the heart of the program and revitalizing that part of the city is important. And if there was some kind of program or some kind of initiative that said, hey, if you do a project in the north, then we can free up north funds for you to then also subsequently do a project in the south, I think that'd be a good way to get investors like myself and other peers that I have to maybe relook at that area and say, what can we do over there so that we can free up funds to do some stuff over in the south where there's a lot more competition.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Okay, Omar Rodriguez? No, okay, and that's everyone.
All right, well, thank you all for your comments. Now we'll move forward into the regular agenda, and with that comes the financial report.
Good afternoon, Chairman and TIRZ Board. Aaron Vanoy, Planning and Development Services Director. So let me move this forward to get to our financial report. So this here on your screen is the South TIRZ. You can see at the top, the beginning balance was 1.7, with property taxes coming in this fiscal year, which would have been starting in once they got everything allocated and corrected, was 1.2. The interest income on that from the previous year was 19,000. And so that gave the total revenues of 1.2663 for the total revenues. The next lines are the incentives. What we have learned on the private incentives committed, which is 1.3 for the South, that number actually comes and gets encumbered once the agreement is signed after City Council has approved that expenditure. and then Hannah goes through a process, gets an agreement with the actual person. And so currently sitting out there that has been committed to private South Side or South Tier Zone incentives is 1.3. Now, some of those are coming up in the next 6 months for an evaluation at 2 years. Did they meet that deadline? Do they need an extension? Are they working towards it or not? Since those monies are encumbered, they stay there until we have an action that brings them back into the actual revenue back at the top, that then you could reallocate them in the future. The Chadburn Street, let me get over here to my notes. So as y'all know, back in, I believe it was in 2017, the city council at that time made a commitment with the TIRZ Board about providing an 8-year allocation, in this case from the south, of $1.1 million is what it looks like for the south to provide a initial investment of 25% of their property taxes, and then it bumped up to 50% of their property taxes. What I am understanding through our helpful finance department is that $1,081,904 are the actual expenditures that they have used on the Chadburn project in the south tiers. The next line item is the streetscape maintenance that they do as an annual item for the streetscape maintenance, and then the operating budget, which is what we utilize in planning to operate the South Tiers projects. We use that to partner with downtown San Angelo if we need some marketing materials. They're working on the bilingual materials for just the Tiers project so that they can hand those things out if they wanted to order some of those signs that we had talked about in the past. That's kind of that for the South Tiers. So that total expenditure comes down to $2,479,988, which gives us the $523,183 for assignment for this rest of this fiscal year, if that makes any sense. Today you will hear some cases on the south. It will probably not take up that full amount of funding. And so you'll see that there's also agenda item further down about seeing what we need to do about either extending the application window or setting a new window for the south. But we'll talk about that on that agenda item. Are there any questions on the south fund before I move to the north fund?
What was the amount again, Mr. Van Noy, on available for assignment? It's different than what's on the screen.
You're correct. I just noticed that is different, and so I want to make sure that I'm reading the right one. So I think Hannah may have gotten an updated one, and my notes are probably from a previous one, so I just want to confirm with Hannah. This one that says the 575,288, that is the most recent one. Okay. And I just looked at mine, and mine actually shows from November, which is when I had the meeting with finance, and I wrote the notes on there. And so I was reading this number on my sheet, which says 523, but the correct number is on the screen, $575,288.
Thank you.
Thank you for catching that. I appreciate that. Well, let's move to the north. You can see the beginning zone balance there, right at $4 million. Property taxes, which I was a little surprised, is very equivalent to what was in the south, being the 1.2, almost 1.3 million. The interest income, because of such a balance there, is much higher. So $117,000 in interest income, which is significant, which I think is great. You can see the private incentives. These are, again, monies that have been allocated by city council, and agreement has been signed. Again, you see that Chadburn Street item. That number is what has been expended out of the north for the Chadburn Street, and that is primarily design work. They are getting ready in the next 6 to 12 months to start working, doing some processes on those items from Beauregard moving up north, and so we're looking forward to that. Now, the north, of course, starts around, I think it's 3rd or 4th Street on Chadburn, and then as soon as they move up to that area, then those expenditures will be coming out of the north as well. The streetscape maintenance, again, is $60,000 there. We are still looking at this public improvement set aside. What is that's actually being used for? We are still doing some research into our database to see what's going on there. That could be an item that maybe comes back and get reallocated into the North Fund, but we want to make sure we get you all the information we can before that decision is made, so you can make a recommendation to City Council, then City Council can make the decision on what to do with those funds. And then our operating dollars are a little higher there, mainly because the North Fund is a little higher, but again, is the same concept of utilizing downtown San Angelo and different resources to help market the program, help folks get through the programs and things like that. Currently through today, through all of our incentives and projects, we have $2.8 million for assignment, which is a large number. And as you guys know, with the large grant that we discussed earlier in 2024, where the city received a large TxDOT grant to create the loop of trail and sidewalk, the impacts after this budget year, which will start in 2026, is an annual contribution out of the south and the north of $301,000. So keep that in mind of that. Now, that does not impact us this year. The anticipation is the Chadburn project pieces will be going away, and this would be replacement. And so it may free up an additional monies, and as that comes more apparent, we will start projecting what those numbers are going to look like for our 2026 TIRZ fund. And I think it will hopefully give us some better ideas of how we want to strategically plan the remaining 10 to 11 years of the TIRZ district, of how can we make those dollars impact our community in a significant way. Are there any questions on the North Finance Report? Yes, sir.
The public improvement set aside.
Yes, sir.
Would you go over again what that is?
We are researching that. We are trying to see if those funds are actually being used or if they're just being put away in for some public improvements. But we anticipate that it's for, say, if someone ran over a street light, particularly here on the north side where they've improved those areas up to 19th Street, if something happens there, or even with the sidewalk ramp, something gets damaged, has to be redone, we believe that's what those funds are for. But we're researching to bring back an informed information on that to see if that is where the TIRZ Board continues to want to spend those dollars, or is that something to look at being reallocated in the future.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Vinoy, I'm going to go ahead and ask, can you remind us what's the split of the $300,000 for I call it the walking loop, but the connection?
So the north funding plan is the $301,000 for the
Okay.
north side, and that's for 5 years.
Okay,
The south is $301,000 for 5 years, plus, I believe, a half year of payment. They got the, plus one, because we didn't want to impact the south fund. We wanted to kind of make it equalized and a specific dollar amount. And so to make and I don't remember the exact total number, but over that 5 years,
Sure.
it took a few extra months to pay that amount
okay.
off.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number either. I just
I-
needed a refresher.
Actually, I think I have it right here. The final payment for year 6 is $393 for that 6th
Okay.
year.
And when is the 5 years up?
It will start in 2026, and so that would be 2031, unless my math is as good as my math can be. All right.
Thanks, sir.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Do you want to read this item?
I'm sorry.
Do you want to read this item?
Sure, I will. You were coming up like you were about to start, so,
I've done
all
it
right.
before. I've done it before.
So next we'll have consideration of possible action of an extension request for 213 and 215 South Chad Board. Everybody looks smart enough to read.
Thank
so
you.
that was-
Hannah Morel Development Services. So we're coming to you with an extension request. This is for that 213, 215 South Chadburn. They originally got a funding request approved on exactly 2 years ago, basically, for that 49,141. I think they just had a lot of items that just couldn't go forward, and they just want to finish their project. They're hoping for an extension to 12/31 of this year, if y'all would have them.
How long do y'all recommend we extend it for?
We mostly have done a year of extension or 6 months of an extension every time we grant an extension, but like, it's really y'all's discretion.
What percentage of the project has been completed?
No percentage of this project has been completed.
None?
No, sir.
You said none?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much time did we give them to begin with?
They get 2 years to complete a project from their acceptance date, which is February 21st, 2023. So they've got 2 years to complete this project, which was
I
a few days
understand.
ago.
I got your bad. Okay.
And this is a very challenging project. For those of you that don't know, that's actually a pier and beam building. It's one of the older buildings we have in downtown. And doing just a fire suppression system and the secondary egress has been more complicated of trying to design it and get it in there, but they do feel like they are going to be able to move forward here very soon. The contractor thought they would be done in 6 to 8 months, so I think we would lean towards the 12-month recommendation of extension.
And you'll see the work they have to complete, so is that fire system, the asbestos abatement, and the secondary egress.
Any questions? So the delay is due to,
Contractual work. I think that's what I would call it.
Yeah, it's mainly just been trying to work out what all systems need to be upgraded. As many of y'all know, I don't know exactly how long it's been vacant, but it's probably been vacant close to a decade, while, as far as open as a business.
Sure.
While it's got items in there, I think the goal is to get this building to a usable state. It is a lot of square footage for our downtown, and if there's any way, if TIRZ can continue while, we have this 49,000 already set aside, it's not coming out of the allocations that are for this year. We have been fairly consistent in allowing contractors, particularly if they're trying to do design or materials or labor, to find a way to work with them to get it to move forward. As we all know, each delay costs more money, and so we certainly, as a group, probably want the project done. If it doesn't get done if we allow an extension or you allow an extension, then we would come forward with a request to bring those monies back into the South Fund and reallocate them at a future date.
Do we know how much has been spent already?
We have not seen what has been spent already. We don't have any requirements for them to hit any thresholds during the time frame, just at the very end. But no, we have not seen that. We just know that they came in December. They did meet the December timeline doing the request and worked with the contractor of bringing this forward to you today.
And will there be some type of update or summary that will be provided to this board?
We can, if that is
Should we
something.
give an extension, and how often, or?
We can certainly have that for you, whether you want that in a 3-month or quarterly or whatever works for you guys. Give us some updates. We do plan on bringing some updates. We just were a little heavy on cases or new funding things, but yes, we'd be happy to do that.
Do they feel like they can get it completed in 12 months?
I believe the part of the TIRZ project that we're funding will be completed. I think they have some other, it's a big building. It's a big building, and so it depends on how they separate it out for maybe a tenant finish off or something like that. That's just a big building in our downtown.
but there has been forward progress. It's just not concrete and steel or what's.
Yes, there has been
part of the
forward progress.
project.
We feel
Okay.
confident in that.
Okay. Well, what is the board's pleasure? Does anybody want to make a motion to extend it? Or do we have a motion to? For 12 months?
Until the 12/31/25, what they requested.
A second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 All right, motion passes. I guess, do I need to ask if there are any nays? Per
Not if-
Robert's rules of
If
order?
everyone
Yeah,
gave the same
okay.
sign, then I think
We're
we're
good.
okay.
All right, then moving forward, let's take, or consider possible action on some North Tiers projects.
Okay, sorry about that. All right, so as you can see, there's 4 north projects in front of us today. And if you guys want to do, we'll do the same way we always do, just go through all of them and then kind of go vote on them at the end? Or do you guys want to do each individual one?
I think.
Do you want to see all of them?
I was gonna say it's up to the board, but, I think what John Mark had us do, where we would walk through it and then vote on it en masse,
That works.
I don't see any reason to change that, so unless
Perfect.
somebody else does. Okay,
Let's go. Okay, so as you can see, we have quite a few project requests. Our first one is going to be 2113 North Chadburn, and their request is $45,135. We have 4 of them that requested the full amount of funding, and that brings us to a total of $345,135.99. And that leaves us with $2,525,890.
so if we
5,200.
approve, I'm sorry, I did not mean to interrupt
No,
you.
no, you're good.
Okay, so if we approve all of these projects, this is the total after full funding, which,
Correct.
thank you for
In the
making
red,
that
yes.
change on the slides for me. So we'll have the 2.5 million available still to award, okay.
Correct. Yes, sir. All right, we'll start with 2113 North Chadburn. The funding requested, like I said, is $45,000. Their proposed project cost is $50,150, and their match is going to be $5,015. The summary of work they're doing is exterior paint, masonry installation, seal coat, and ADA ramp. This one was ranked high priority within our committee because of the ADA improvements as per the policy.
And you're showing us to them in the order that they're ranked, correct?
It kind of worked out that way, but not really.
Okay.
So I'll keep letting you know what they're ranked, just so you guys know.
Okay,
As you can see, the project is in the blue outline on North Chadburn over by Western Sky. It's the Joy Store.
oh, okay.
And basically what they're gonna do is that top half, this doesn't work, we're spoiled with the last one. The top half is gonna be that gray stone color. The middle line is gonna be that kind of cream white color. The bottom will be that Industrial Revolution color, but it'll be the bottom up to the bottom of the window. What they're wanting to also do is repave the front parking and make the ADA accessible ramp into the store.
Right there at the front,
Correct.
correct? Okay.
Can I point with this? Oh, yes. Okay, yes, right over here, they're just gonna update that. It is not. Then we have 2124 MLK, they're asking for $75,000. The proposed project cost is $84,000 and their match is gonna be $9,000. They're doing some sidewalks, landscaping, roof and demo, metal awning, installation, and paving. This one is ranked on the higher side of a medium priority with building aesthetics and landscaping. It's over there across from MLK Park. And it is this Rodeo Western Wear. They're going to still be Rodeo Western Wear. They're just going to redo their parking and update the landscaping outside. If you want to look at their parking now, and then this is what they're proposing it to look like. And that's why it ranks in the medium higher of our ranking due to building aesthetics and landscaping.
And this is the business that was on Bryant, on North
Correct.
Bryant?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and moved. Okay.
Okay, then we're gonna have 201 West 29th. They are requesting $75,000. Their proposed project cost is $89,529. Their match is gonna be $89,502. And what they're gonna be doing is awning replacement, concrete, landscaping, stucco, secondary egress, entry door, and signage. This one ranks on the higher medium priority as well due to building aesthetics, landscaping, and secondary egress. And you'll see it's over here by Hirschfeld Steel, right across the street from it. Looks like this currently. And if you'll notice, just kind of notice over here a little bit, and then the sign. This is what they're proposing for it to look like after. They're gonna shield off that kind of open parking area. They're gonna add they're going to improve their front landscaping and their entries, and then do some masonry work over here.
What is that business now?
It is an AC company right now.
Can you repeat that, Hannah?
Yeah, it's an AC
Okay.
company right now, from what I could look up, that's what
Sure.
it is.
No, I know it is an AC company, I just didn't understand you
right.
there.
And then here's a better picture of it. And then 1621 North Chadburn, they are requesting the full amount of funding, the $75,000. Their proposed project cost is going to be that $98,800. Their match is going to be the $98,80. Their summary work will be shingle replacement, historical preservation, windows, doors, paint touch-up, and stair repair. They ranked on high priority due to historic preservation. And then you guys all, I'm sure, recognize this house. Let's see. All right, so basically, they're just going to be doing it like they got this one approved at DHRC. They're just going to be making it how it used to look, essentially, replacing, I don't know if you can see closely where y'all are, these upper panels, like on the roof, they're replacing those, updating the stairs, updating all, I think they have 26 or so windows. So they're going to be replacing all of those as well.
And do we know what business would be going in here, or is it rental properties?
It'll be rental properties.
Okay. Rental properties.
Don't have a tenant yet?
Not in these conditions.
Is that residential rental?
Is that
Yes.
Is that the old Methodist church?
No, it's
I forget the name of the house.
I remember the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also have found some evidence that it used to be one of the former mayor's houses a long, long time ago. But it got converted to multifamily at some point in its history. The new property owner is wanting to renovate it and get it back to where it does have some multifamily functionality. They also have it's on a large lot, and they're also building some accessory buildings at some point in the future. And I say accessories, they may actually be residential buildings as well that would complement this structure. But their focus on this ask is to kind of restore the outside, get it safe and secure and weather tight is what they're looking at doing.
And is it common for this body to look at residential, whether it's multi or single?
So in our policies, it has to be a certain zoning. It cannot be a what we call an RS zoning, which is single family or duplex. This one actually has a RM zoning, which is low-rise multifamily. And so we do have the ability, and we have done funding for projects in the past for low-rise multifamily in the TIRZ areas, as housing is one of the criteria for the TIRZ area.
Okay.
Any other comments on this one, Hannah, or anything you want us to know about it?
The applicant is here, but if y'all want to speak with them after we're done with the north, they are here.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask is, do we have anybody representing these projects that wants to come speak to us, or do we start?
So these I just showed you, the ones that kind of look similar, they are not here. But the 1621 and the next one I'm about to show you, they are here.
Okay,
So we have one more left for you on the north. So then we have 214 West 18th. They're requesting the $75,000. Their proposed project cost is going to be that $250,000. Their match is going to be $50,000, and they are doing exterior doors, window insulation, fencing, landscaping, and demo work. They are ranked high priority due to housing. Y'all seen this one before. Their last project was this 215, and their new one is going to be where this blue star is. And this is what it looks like right now. I'm sure y'all have seen this. And this is what's going to go there. Just
Okay,
doing
yeah,
the duplexes. Yes, sir.
this is the group that came, I don't remember when, sometime last year, and they're going to raise the
Yes.
buildings that were there, or the houses, and, yeah.
Correct. They're
okay.
just wanting to do them one by one, kind of, so to say.
Sure.
And so that's why he's coming forward this round, because he's about to be able to start on his next round.
Okay. And these would be multifamily units? Okay.
I believe that's correct, that this would be a duplex-style structure on that one lot.
Okay.
All
That's all I
right.
had for you for the north.
Anybody have any questions, anything? So do we have any representatives from these projects? Anybody that would like to give us more information? Or are you guys ready to make a motion and vote?
I know we had the 1621 North Chadburn, they signed up for public comment, and so did Chris Matlock as well for the duplex.
Okay,
Those are the only, and Omar Rodriguez for Joy Store.
say that again.
The Joy Store one, they signed up for public comment as well, if you
Okay.
guys have any questions.
I think we've got somebody raising their hand back there.
So let's let the Joy Store come up and speak on their project, which I believe that's Omar Rodriguez, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Omar Rodriguez. I'm speaking on behalf of the Joy Store. And they, since they've put in the application, I know we can't add on to what's already on there, but the people putting up the meters ruined their pipe that went to the building. So that's going to have to come out of their, their funds. And they've already, 2 weeks ago, had to do the electrical work to get all the, and so they've put in a lot of their own money already.
Okay.
And so the 45 that they're asking for is, it's reasonable to what it's going to look like after the project is complete.
Yeah. So essentially, they've already started some of the improvements, and this puts the cap
Yeah,
on
we
it.
didn't want to put off, because we'd have to reapply with a different figure.
Okay,
And they just want to get started with the
Sure.
project, so
absolutely. Okay,
that's all I have.
all right. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
We'll fix that here in just a second, because it is green up there. So do we have any other representatives from a project?
Yes. Okay, yes. Chris, do you want to speak?
If they don't have any questions, I don't need to speak. It's up to you guys.
It doesn't look like we have any question, or maybe we do. I don't know.
And then 1621 North Chadburn,
Okay.
they have public comment as well. Would you like to speak, Griselda?
You're welcome to come up. And if you would, please make sure you can adjust that microphone so that we can hear you.
Well, hello, my name is Griselda Bravo, and I'm assisting Mr. Shahid, who is the owner, and trying to update this historical home. If y'all have any questions for me regarding the update?
So essentially, it'd be get the outside
Yes.
watertight and then start working on the inside.
Yes, sir.
With the goal of
Of
tenants.
Yeah, making it into a rental property,
Sure.
yes.
Do you have a time frame in mind and having it complete?
As soon as possible, we want to start on it, so I know it's going to take some time for it, especially the outside, new windows, the roofing, a lot of the stairs are kind of crumbling, a little bit of what, I don't know if it's stucco or whatever, but cement, yeah, all that has to, each project is going to take its time. So hopefully within, I want to say a year, maybe. I'm not sure how long we are given to finish. Do y'all know
Say that again. I'm sorry.
how long we have to finish the project?
So I'm not going to speak out of turn. We'll let Mr. Vinoy or
Okay. No,
Mrs.
that's fine.
Morel answer that one.
I apologize. What is the question, ma'am?
How long we have to finish the project?
Well, for all TIRZ projects, in the contract, it'll be 2 years from date of approval from city council. So this will be the recommending board to city council. If it recommends funding, it'll go to city council, hopefully in April, if not in the next meeting in March.
All right, awesome. So, any other questions?
None for me?
Nope.
No, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. We appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Well, do we have a motion to approve all the projects? Are there any we want to pull out? Any other questions? Y'all are a quiet bunch today.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I have questions on all of them, but we've got plenty of money, and these people think they'll do the job, so I'm going to make a motion to approve all of them.
All right.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion carries. Thank you for that, and thank you for those who are here to represent the projects and speaking. Now, Hannah, would you please come present these South Tiers projects?
All right, Hannah Morrell, Development Services. Let's get started. Okay, for the South, you guys see there's about 4 projects we're going to discuss today, and I just wanted to give you guys a refresher, even though you'll see it right here as well. We have about $575,000 in the South, and 2 projects requested full funding, and 2 projects coincidentally requested the $17,000. So that'll leave 145 or 184.
Hannah, can you speak into the mic a little?
I thought I was. Am I speaking good?
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
It's all right.
So that'll have your project cost total as $184,000, and that'll leave you guys in the South, if everything is requested fully, with $390,000 in the South.
Okay.
All right, we're going to start with 16 North Chadburn. They are requesting the full amount of funding, the 75. Their proposed project cost is $168,500, and their match is going to be $93,500. What they're wanting to do is exterior doors, window installation, historic preservation, and ADA improvements. Excuse me. With the priority, they're the high priority due to historical preservation and ADA. And you guys know this building, I'm sure, on North Chadburn. This is what it looks like, or this is what it looked like before. Here's what it looks like to the right now, and to the left is what they are proposing it to look like. That new door installation, the bricking, all that brick on the top will be actually the brick that was actually on top and from it, so that looked pretty cool with it. And they asked for demo funding. When they went to demo, you guys, this building is super old, so it kind of didn't work in their favor, but we're working to get a remedy for that. Next is going to be 200 South Magdalene. They're asking for $17,136. Their proposed project cost is $22,000, and their match is going to be $5,700. Their summary work is replacing the existing parking lot and restriping. They are ranked lowest priority due to it just being a parking lot and other paving project only. And it is a Firehouse Pizza. It is coming, this is a parking lot that is on this side of East Tuig, and they're just wanting to restripe it and get it as functioning a parking lot. Then we have 123 North Chadburn. The funding they're requesting is $17,000. Their proposed project cost is $22,958, and their match is going to be $5,739. The summary work is going to be the installation of an awning and mural. It is in the blue right there. And you guys have seen this one before as well. That mural will be over where the graffiti is. And then the awning, if we just avoid all the other stuff, the awning is going to be this awning right here.
So facing Chadburn Street. Correct, okay.
Then we have 220 South Abe. They're requesting $75,000. The proposed project cost is going to be $82,596. Their match will be $20,649. They are looking to do window installation, landscaping, awning, and materials. This one is ranked high priority, and also I forgot to mention that the last one you guys just looked at is ranked low priority. This one is ranked high priority due to housing. You'll see there's Kids Kingdom right down to the bottom, and then the blue is kind of hard to see over on my end, but this is what it looks like now to the left, and to the right is what they're proposing to do. Update the landscaping, enclose it, update the awning, the doors, basically everything.
Okay. So improvement. Can you go back to the project estimated cost and the match?
No,
on the last project,
Yeah.
the one 220 South Abe right there. So the funding requested is $75,000. Project cost is $82,000, and the match is $20,000.
I knew I would do one math mistake
Well,
today.
no, it's not you. I was making sure that my mind was following.
Well, one of the things that tends to make those numbers a little odd is that the match has to be TIRZ qualified improvements. So you think about other improvements within the building that they probably are still doing within that 82,000, they may not fall under TIRZ improvement. So maybe they're updating the HVAC system. Well, that's not a TIRZ improvement, where the window installation, landscaping, awning materials, the facades and things like that, or fire safety things, those are TIRZ qualified improvements. And so that's why sometimes the match amount is different, but they're basically saying we're doing as much as we can with the amount of money we can, and here's how many things that qualify for TIRZ, up to 20,000 that we're doing on this project out of that 82,000.
Okay, thank you for that clarification there. So that answered my question, and this is the last project we're considering in the south.
It is.
Any questions about any projects?
I got a question about the mural.
Yes.
Okay.
Most of the money's gonna be spent on the mural that we're granting. Is that correct?
Can't recall looking at their application. I believe they're probably equal on the mural and the awning, if I could speak on it.
While the mural is aesthetically pleasing and would be nice to look in, it's not gonna add one dime to the tax base.
Any other comments?
Buffalo, is that what you're referring to, Mr. Brown?
Yeah. And it'd be on the side, when you turn off Chadbourne.
Yeah, well, it seems
So
that
like-
we're,
Wouldn't be on the
If you're
front.
coming down,
So, yeah, so if you're driving towards downtown on North Chadbourne,
if you're coming from here down, you'll be able to see it.
yeah, it's right across from Kohl's, okay, yeah.
well, that just seems to be something popular that we're starting to do. is,
There's a mural
A lot of
on
murals.
Chadbourne going north
Yep.
that I've seen people hanging out, taking pictures in front of.
You talking about the Willie Nelson?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
there's a
Willie Nelson.
redeeming quality to those murals.
Okay,
We currently are the visual arts capital of the state of Texas. San Angelo has been designated that. While I do agree with Mr. Brown, the question pops in the mind, does this add property tax value for the TIRZ district? That's a good question. I certainly question that at times myself. Now, can we restore the building completely and get that area kind of cleaned up as well as the awning? While we know we have an art gallery there today, does this continue to help service that building in the future?
Do they have a prospective tenant?
I believe that they are still operating as the art gallery, the Blue Buffalo
It's
Art
still
Gallery.
going on?
Yes, sir. There were some questions, 6 to 12 months ago. They thought that might not move forward, but it is continuing to move forward at this time.
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's not going to necessarily add any value, and especially when we look at the murals that are put on properties that individuals own that's relevant. So like what they're proposing, it would be relevant to this museum. But I think the whole idea of us being the arts capital is what we have to kind of think about, that it may not be monetary value, but like the Willie Nelson mural, people just want to come and get their photo there. So I agree that it's not necessarily any money that's going to come in because of that, but I think it does increase visitation to the city, especially with that designation of that we have now here in San Angelo, that we've had for the second year. So.
Does he own the building?
We did look into that, but yes, currently he does own the building. And as part of the TIRZ requirement, he has to own it for 2 years.
If he owns the building, he's probably gonna stay a while.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion approved.
So make a motion to approve all the projects?
All of them.
All right,
Second.
second, right there, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and so the motion passes. Thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you. And now we will consider possible action on extension of the TIRZ South application window. And Mr. Vinoy, would you come refresh my memory and help the rest of us out?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Again, Aaron Vinoy, Director of Planning and Development Services. So I'm going to go back to Hannah's slide right here. So after your decision today, and as this moves forward to city council, there is potentially $390,000 in the South Tiers district available for allocation. What we also know is that we've had, I would say, 3 to 4 projects that did not get in front of the DHRC or the Design and Historic Review Commission, so they were not eligible to come today and request funds for the South Tiers district. So we kind of have a couple of options for y'all to talk about of, do we just, technically the window closed on February the 14th. Do we extend that for another 45 days to allow that group to get to the DHRC? Or do we say, okay, let's wait for 30 days and reopen it for maybe a 60-day window to have other folks? I believe the ones that were not quite ready to go to DHRC are very close. We believe that we could set a time frame that they could meet the April DHRC, which would then bring them in May for request for funding here in front of this board. But we do know that there are folks in the South Tiers that are almost ready to come forward. There may be others that we don't know, but we do have that $390,000, and it has been in years past that the TIRZ Board has says, we've got the money, let's get people to apply so that we can get the money put to work. So we're happy to accommodate what y'all's desires are for opening a South Tiers window again, but we'd like y'all to discuss what your desire would be for us to move forward.
That 390 is a hard number,
As of right now, with those allocations, if city council agrees, then yes, sir.
then why wouldn't we keep our applications coming? I mean, we're in the business of making this deal work.
Yes, sir.
Shirley, what do you have?
What's the additional, well, let me ask the question this way. If we don't open it up, when is the next time they could apply? When is the next window?
That would be up to y'all's discretion just to direct staff. We want to open the window at X date for X number of days. We would come with a recommendation. I think our recommendation is to extend this open window now because we know we have applicants that are very close to being ready. But typically we wait till, I would say, June to reopen that window. And sometimes, as we all can attest to, anybody that's in here that's working on projects knows that every day it costs a little more money to do something.
Right, so this, the window actually closed in February?
It closed February 14th, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What is your recommendation for extending that out? Is it 60 days?
So we would recommend 45 days so that they could get to the next DHRC. And so we would work very strongly with them, as well as Downtown San Angelo has been working with some of those applicants to get all their papers together so that they can hit that DHRC, get that last piece of paper that says they've got an approval so that they can come before the board. And so we would recommend moving it all the way through the end of March, opening that window so that they could get to the April DHRC. If we're able to squeeze a couple of in for the March DHRC, we will. But we would also make sure that they could meet the April DHRC, that we could bring them back, potentially at the end of April. If they get that, then we might be able to bring them back for y'all's decision-making in April.
And so do we know with these other companies, and I'm sure you can't tell us today because you've not presented them, what kind of value would they be bringing to the downtown area? Can you at least kind of
I know that
talk to that?
at least 2 to 3 of them are entertainment style or retail bar style.
Okay.
And so that they would actually be a business that's operating, bringing people in downtown. And so they would not be possibly just doing facades for vacant buildings and just waiting for a tenant. It looks like they are getting ready for tenants to move in and start operations.
Okay, thank you.
So do we have a motion to extend?
I make a motion to extend 45 days.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the motion passes. Aaron, it is now time for your report, please, sir.
All right, well, thank you, Chairman. So on my report, I do want to give an update, and I hope Ms. Spears is still here. Yes, Ms. Spears is here. So as she alluded to, there was a city council meeting in which I did bring forward the concept of a modified program alignment for nonprofits on the north side compared to what we have in our policies currently. It was a robust discussion with the city council. At that time, they were very split from yes or no. They did have really two motions, both failed. And what we ultimately resulted is we are status quo, what we have currently. Nonprofits on the north side are eligible to apply. They're eligible to come to this board. You're able to make a recommendation for or against, and then it will go to city council. That is the current status on our policies. They did not make any modifications for our policies. So, but they were split from making a motion for nonprofits to completely be taken out of the north. That did fail. And then again, the modifications that we had discussed back in, that might have been November or December, that we had put that they would have a cap. They could have a certain portion, a certain percentage of the north tiers would be dedicated to nonprofits. They also, that motion did not pass either. So we are at status quo of what we've been for many years on the north side for those items. So if there are any nonprofit agencies on the north side, they are eligible to apply. From the city's stance, they have made all decisions on any prior cases that have come forward. And so if someone wants to come forward, it would be a new case to come forward, to be heard at DHR, or excuse me, to be heard here at TIRZ, and then would go to city council with a recommendation from TIRZ.
And explain to us what, or can you define what the status quo is currently? I mean, quickly. Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean you had to grab your book,
No,
just, yeah,
That is correct.
yeah.
I have it right here in our policy statements. So, nonprofit organizations may be eligible for TIRZ incentives in the North Zone if the TIRZ Board and City Council make a finding that a significant economic impact will be created as a result of the project. Providing funding for a nonprofit organization under this policy shall require a favorable vote of at least 3/4 of all the members of the TIRZ Board and City Council. So that is the paragraph that deals with nonprofits on the north side. Again, the nonprofits on the south side are not allowed to apply.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, can you remind me, you're smart, you got it all, what our final recommendation was before those sessions with the council? This board's final recommendation.
I had that in my book, but I'm not sure that I have it with me today. But let me keep looking here and see if I have that. But
You
we
remember,
had,
Mr. Brown?
I want to say we had set aside 200,000.
Right.
Maybe it was 200,000 or 300,000, that they would be eligible up to the 75,000. Or if they were multiple agencies that wanted to go together, they'd be eligible up to 100,000. It could not be rolled over year to year. So if somebody didn't utilize those funds, didn't get awarded those funds, they wouldn't be put in the pot and that pot continues to grow. It would start every year at the 200,000. It would remove the 3/4 vote, and it would have made just a majority vote. So kind of lowering the threshold there a little bit. We did not require a match because the amount was fairly low. We did require that it would need some type of public improvement unless the public improvement was already there. So if a sidewalk was already there, why make that requirement again? We would do the same kind of criteria that it would be helping with ADA accommodations, those types of things to make an impact. I think the challenging part of our policies is what is and even Ms. Spears alluded to it, a significant economic impact. Each person interprets that maybe a little bit differently, from what is the property taxes, what is the traffic that it generates, what is the aesthetic beauty that it generates. That can be different for many different people. I think the goal over time is, does it make a significant impact over time? And that's what we have to help show and help those applicants show so that they can be successful.
And I think you're referencing Ms. Smith on the comments.
I did. Did I say you, Shirley? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
So I just wanted to, for the
Yes.
record, to make sure.
Correct.
He's
Yes, it
referencing
is
Ms.
Evelyn
Smith.
Smith. I apologize, Shirley.
Right, no problem. And then the last question that I have is, did you kind of take away whether or not, I know we're getting ready to go through elections, so we'll have some different people on the council, but it seems like, one of the things we were struggling with last year is making recommendations for approval, and then the city would get there and not agree with us. So did you get a feel, and this may not be an appropriate question, Mr. Benoit, that they would even consider more seriously our recommendations from this board? Because I think that was what we were trying to achieve, is that there's no need for us to approve it here, and every time it would be rejected once it got to the council. Did you get a feel that they are more open to looking at our recommendations more seriously, since they weren't able to take nonprofits off the table?
I believe the short answer is yes.
Okay, that's the short answer, okay.
I think the longer answer is they did ask for the city attorney and myself to investigate how TIRZ boards across the area
Operate.
interact with nonprofits. And we are into that research and going to be bringing something back.
Okay.
I also think it is imperative for each of us, including staff, to build that relationship with our city council member that may have appointed or may not be there anymore, that now you have a new city council member that's over your seat number that is appointment. But it's, again, building those relationships that they understand the project. And I think part of it is that Hannah and I are working with our applicants is the storytelling of what are these impacts that Project A makes for that immediate area, the neighborhood. How does that impact us all? And so that's where we're working on improving those areas so that when those cases do come forward with a recommendation from the TIRZ Board, they understand everything that's going on. And if they have pointed questions, we're happy to answer those. But our goal is to help these applicants move forward to find successful funding.
Okay, final question or point, and that is, I heard earlier in the meeting that downtown San Angelo can assist with some of the marketing things, and I guess their budget already allows for a certain amount of money to be spent. So in your efforts, as you just explained, with some of the applicants on the north side that may be, in some cases, these nonprofits, can we look at how downtown San Angelo can assist those organizations with some great materials and collateral and things of that nature to maybe help them be more impressive in trying to?
Yes, I think there are some opportunities there, certainly to work with downtown, and you saw that kind of operating fund that we have, that we kind of work together to help those things come to fruition. But yes, I think there may be some opportunities to
Well, I will
help there.
hope that staff would consider that, because that may be one of the deficiencies, is that perhaps they don't know how to put it together so that it's attractive enough and to make those points that you made a significant impact. So maybe they don't know how to show that, but if we can assist them, that might kind of ease out some of the bumpy road that we've traveled over the last couple of years.
Yes, ma'am, we can work towards that goal.
Okay, thank you.
Do you recall the vote? What was the vote, Aaron, to reject our recommendation?
I'm trying to think. I think there was one city council member that was absent that day, and so I believe the votes were 3-3. I would have to go back and be sure, but I believe one city council was absent that day, and so it made it a 3-3 vote, not a 4-3 one way or the other.
So it's a tie vote, no action taken.
That is correct.
Was it the meeting just this Tuesday?
No, this was back in, I want to say the first week in January.
Right. I wonder if we ought to go back.
Mr. Brown likes to.
It's a 3-3 tie. Who was absent?
I
I'll
believe
work
it
on
was place number 6, Mr. Larry Miller, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Who?
Mr. Larry Miller.
Oh, the mayor's gonna vote against it, so I'm not gonna work for it.
Oh, you're not gonna bring that forward or make a motion for it to get more
The
work
mayor's
for
gonna vote
Mr.
against it,
Benoit?
so I'm not gonna worry about that. Huh? Well, if you go with me, I'll go.
Okay, let's schedule it.
So the other thing on the director's
If you
report,
for me, nobody can be against me, Shirley.
Okay, all right, that sounds good.
The other thing on the director's report, and I alluded to it briefly, is talking about some strategic planning. We do have a couple of other new members that will probably be joining us here soon that will kind of continue to enhance our group here. But I think that as we are looking out down the road, I mean, we're really, for a TIRZ district with just 11 to 10 years left, we really need to start strategically planning, bring that strategic plan maybe to city council and say, this is what we see. Maybe there's a joint meeting with TIRZ and city council in our future somewhere so that we can, everyone get on the same page and say, well, this is how we want to impact these areas. Just like the gentleman that had the comment in public comment about North Tiers funding South Tiers or things like that. I think that we have to make some strong decisions so that we are utilizing our Tiers fund. And does that mean we make recommendations for the Tiers program to continue after that time period, or does it move to a different location in town? But I think we need to start looking at that. While some of us think a decade is a long time, it seems to go very fast.
Yeah, it'll go fast.
Yes.
So, and you'll keep us informed of that in the future, though?
Yes.
Or ideas and recommendations
Yes,
as we move
I think
forward.
we probably would have a workshop similar in this room, that it would still be attended by the public, but it wouldn't have these cases and things. We would do a workshop and maybe strategize for 2 to 3 hours about how we want to move forward with some different projects and different things. What projects are coming at us? Some more in-depth thought of what we do. Is there anything in our policies or priorities that we should be shifting because of what our community is shifting to?
Okay.
Mr. Chair, just
Go ahead.
one comment, Mr. Van Orn, that when you all decide to put this together, that you consider who the facilitators will be.
Okay.
And that you look at maybe cities that are close in our size or things of that nature, and what type of relationship they've had with their nonprofits in particular, the value that it has brought or not, and hopefully try to get someone who is open to the idea of what we're trying to do, as opposed to some local person who may favor a council person or whatever, but try to find a strategic consultant that can really be open to the idea of what we're trying to achieve, especially with us having as many new board members coming on board this year. Thank you.
ma'am.
All right.
And then the last thing I know, Chairman Holmes and I discussed a little bit about maybe each time having a little bit of that training that we kind of went through last year, especially with some new board members. And I think maybe one of the best areas is to maybe start with how we, our criteria and our rankings, just so that that's kind of still fresh on our memories of how is it that staff bring these forward as rankings. I just kind of took a note today. It might be good that we put them in the order of the ranking. I think Mr. Brown asked if that, or maybe Ms. Spears asked that, and I think that makes kind of some sense. So it kind of gives y'all a memory. Okay, well, that was the first ranking. This is the second ranking. Here's the criteria that they met. So we're willing to do those things to help particularly the new folks understand this is what we're doing and why, so that it kind of helps everybody. So with that, I don't have anything else, Mr. Chairman.
I was about to ask if that concludes your report. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Vanoy. Do we have anything, as we start closing the meeting, do we have anything that we need to consider for possible future agenda items? I will take that as a no, and so our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. That is after spring break, so all of our kiddos will be back in school. We can be here. I do have one personal announcement. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you who's come today, not just the board members, but for those of you from the public who are here to participate. And then on a very personal note, I want to say thank you to my dad for coming to attend and support me, and also to my beautiful wife who's watching online. Got to take advantage of it while I have the mic, but thanks to both of you. Yeah, thank you. It was personal privilege. There we go. And yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Sorry, I just didn't want you to adjourn before I could say this. I just want to give a reminder for anyone or any of y'all that talk to anyone in the South Zone, they have to have a DHRC approval letter when they turn in their TIRZ application, or it will be rejected among receiving it. I know that darkens the mood. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's great to know. That is great to know. And with that, do we have a motion to adjourn? All right. All in favor? All right, and we are adjourned.